Before the camera started rolling, we talked about, you know, you're from Ukraine, you're from the eastern part, from Kiev. But where, you're interesting because you're really from nowhere and everywhere at the same time. So you're living in Rio right now.
Yeah.
How does a guy go from Kiev to Rio?
Well, it wasn't overnight, so that's how it goes. The simple answer is I fell in love with a girl who was living in Rio. And so after 10 years in New York, I went to Rio and I just waited. Basically, I feel like all these years I just waited for an excuse to go to Rio because I always loved the Brazilian vibe and culture, and I had Brazilian friends a lot. And if you go like look up our stuff, even from early years of Gogol Bordello, we made like events with Brazilian musicians with like 20, 30 Brazilian drummers on stage. And just really kind of, it's really relevant to our aesthetic, which is in certain ways carnival-like.
Yeah.
Not all of it, but some of it.
Well, it makes sense. And then
Yeah.
you know, you guys have always been, whatever form Gogol Bordello takes, it's always been very multicultural.
Yeah.
You know, in the current band, you've got Ukraine, you got some Russians, you got somebody from Ecuador in there.
Pedro, yeah.
All kinds of people.
Ethiopia, Israel, Scotland, States, you know.
So this is I'm guessing this is part of the appeal of Gogol Bordello. I mean, you're from nowhere and everywhere. You have, you know, the immigrant aesthetic. You know, people can identify. You play wherever you play. There are people who identify with what you guys represent.
Yeah, because, well, I don't know if it's really something to take for granted, but we do gather a lot of people with that mood, you know, or that background. Because most of us are with that background. You know what I mean? I mean, everybody's a nomad to the extent.
Everybody is from somewhere else.
Yeah, and it's an important kind of element in our history. So one of the most inspiring feedbacks that I ever heard from people was when they would say, listen, I'm from, this happened several times, they'd say, listen, I'm from Serbia, but I live in Canada. Or, listen, I'm from Venezuela, but I live in UK. But your music makes me feel home. It's like, yeah, I mean, partly the reason why we created is to make ourselves feel home. You know, it's so the effect spreads. You know, I wasn't when I spend enough time in the States, I guess to develop some nostalgia for my roots music. That's when kind of Gogol Bordello really appeared. It was a combination of this and that.
What's also fascinating about you guys, it's all about the live show. It's always been about the live show.
Oh, really? I really believe in making records.
You do? Still?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting that now, well, actually, I'm not surprised that Rick Rubin is involved in this new record, because
big step for the band.
Yeah, but when you look at it in retrospect from the outside, you go, okay, this makes sense, because that's the kind of project that Rick Rubin would take on.
Yeah, because essentially it's about songwriting.
Right.
And the live aspect we all enjoy tremendously, and it's just fun to play music. And in this band, every musician is a lifer musician. We even have our own next batch of songs, yet to come a song called We Are the Lifers, which is about, lots of people play music until they're 25, 26. It's usually like hormone-driven music, and energy itself is already enough. But after a while, some people move on to become like that, plus being craftsmen. And that's where really, that's where we found ourselves. It's like over the years of crafting and making music professionally, you get good at that too, not only on making wild party. That's easy. That's just like, hey, and some bonfire and some girls and pop the bottle and there we go, party. But a crafting element became central You know, and it was always actually was. We were always trying to work. I worked always very hard on songs, and Rick saw it. You know, he just saw that the foundation of it is not all that or all this or all that. It starts with the fact that song must work on guitar. If it doesn't work on guitar, it's not really a song yet.
So
it's an idea for a song.
So what did he bring in to the sessions beyond what we just talked about? That did he actually sit there and help you with the arrangements? Did he, because Rick can kind of come in, give his blessing, or yell at somebody and then just leave. So what was it? Real hands-on with him?
I think we were really lucky that Rick was excited about our music to the point of spending every day with us in studio. And as messy as creative process can be, always see the light, because it's supposed to be messy. That's what creativity is. It's a lot of shooting blanks and in the dark and waiting till everyone in a room is finally going to lock into this groove, because sometimes it's just 2 people out of 20. And I think with experience that, you know, Rick's experience and a gift is to be able to see what is the hindrance or an obstacle in a flow of song or arrangement, where it's like, let's just take that one bass note out, and suddenly everybody who's in the room starts going like that. I don't know how he sees it. It's nothing I could do. So yeah, it's like, for us, it's just an amazing growth and just excitement that we could elevate our music in a more authentic way, without relying on any, we're just relying on what we have as a band, on musicality of it, on melodies, on lyrics, and on our own energy.
How many records is this?
5.
5?
Yeah.
Including the Live at Access Monday, or is that?
No, it's more if you have Jeff, which is like electronic side project that we did, and with Access Monday, that'll be like 7.